Get comfortable with the uncomfortable, a mantra I followed for over 2 decades in my creative journey. Today, I will be speaking about some defining uncomfortable moments during my career that helped shape my creative journey. The unexpected things that made the ordinary extraordinary, and how discomfort eventually becomes comfort, leading you to attract more discomfort that leads to comfort one more time. I guess you get the drift. My dad came from an advertising and design background, and that pushed me into exploring communication art. It all started at Don Bosco High School, Mumbai, where besides dribbling the ball, I dabbled in art. And then I went on to complete my graduation at JJ School of Art. I specialized in photography and won a few accolades, including State Art Award at my final year submission. Photography was a tempting profession at that time, but cost of investment on equipment was really high. And that's what made me uncomfortable. What next? What am I going to be? A photographer's assistant? A spot boy? An art director? An art director on film sets? I mean, what? I was fascinated by some jaw-dropping work being created out of Brazil. And when I saw that work, there was a calling. I knew it was that. That is what I wanted to do. I joined Mudra Communication as a junior visualizer, worked on brands like McDonald's, and got my first New York Festival finalist for a poster I designed for the classic Filet-O-Fish. I got noticed, and within 6 months, I was in Leo Burnett. I tried really hard for 2 years at Burnett. 7+ ideas was a norm during that time. But somehow, my ideas didn't hit bullseye. With a sad heart, no accolades or recognition, I decided to move to Enterprise Nexus. B. Ramnathkar, my mentor at that time, believed in my book and decided to hire me. I was going to be working with the best. Ramnathkar, known as Ramu, was amazing at design and craft. Mohammad Khan, the chief creative officer, was an advertising legend. My palms were sweating, and it felt like a million butterflies were fluttering in my stomach. And here is how the uncomfortable journey really started. After a few months of work on brands like NECC, Godrej Locks, Times of India, I was tasked with the most difficult brief for Economic Times. 2 ads in the series were released, and a 3rd ad was required. The entire agency was at it, and most ideas were being trashed into the bin. It is very uncomfortable feeling when you can't get your head around an idea. And finally, a spark happened. Dog and cat got created. This was the ad that got me back from the bin onto the pin. I gave a nightmare to my copy partner Sonal. We both went ahead and shot nearly 10 dogs and 30 cats. I remember we even changed the photographer twice till we got the exact moment. I feel extremely proud when even today this ad gets featured in the best of Indian advertising. Another incredible moment for me was one day when Mohammad Khan walked towards the creative team. Fast and furious, screamed my name from the top of the aisle. Alok, come to my office now. I want the entire creative team. I didn't know where to hide. I had no clue what I had done. But it surely sounded like something had gone wrong. The entire team was now in the lion's den. Mohammed had this habit of sitting on his chair facing the wall, and he turned around with a sheet of paper. He looked into my eye, handed the paper to me, and smiled. It was a letter from Adrian Holmes, the Global Chief Creative Officer. It was an invitation to the Cannes line. I was the chosen one. I became the youngest creative to represent the low network. I was lucky to be present for the 50th year of Cannes line, an all-expense paid trip at the age of 26. It was also the first time I traveled outside India. Can I tell you? It was really uncomfortable. The festival ended, and while I strolled the French Riviera, I said to myself, Alok, you have to come back. You have to come back and win. On my way back from Cannes, I decided to have a stopover in Dubai. Met a friend and fell in love with the fancy cars and heat. I got hired as an art director at Partnership. It was an uncomfortable thing to do. Make the move to a new market, a new language. It was all going to change. It was not going to be easy.
The story took a sharp turn when the local representative spoke up. He's famous in the region for his unorthodox practices.
Experts say his business mindset will always impair his judgment as a politician.
After a decade of policies that have shaped the country's future, today he's making headlines for all the wrong reasons.
I started working on new brands like Home Center, Shoe Mart, Splash, and Iconic. I remember doing 50 billboards for a launch of Iconic.
The intention was very simple, is to create a campaign that's high on attitude and extremely edgy.
And in very little time, I became a known creative director in the region. I also got recognized as the youngest creative in the region by Campaign magazine. The Splash Fashion Calendar is one such story. So we got briefed on a typical desktop calendar towards the end of November. We had precisely 1 month for thinking, execution, and printing the calendar. Splash wanted to gift a New Year calendar to every customer shopping at Splash. It's easy to create something simple and deliver, but I decided to take the uncomfortable part. I proposed the limited edition calendar for Splash, and with all conviction, went and sold it. But now, I had created a problem. How do we execute this in 3 weeks with a 1-week lead-in time for printing? We also didn't want to use the usual stock or scene before fashion. I knew the only way to make it happen is collaborate with a team who would buy into the dream and not the project. I was lucky to work with clients who were more like friends and great bosses always. Clients sometimes can be great mentors too. My CCO, John Money, and Raza Beg CEO Splash gave me all the opportunities to shine and experiment, and there was no looking back. The first Splash calendar was just 500 pieces, all numbered, with a mass desktop calendar for the shopper. It became popular and almost a property that Splash owns year on year.
12 talented, super talented photographers from around the world.
Things were going great, and just when I was starting to get comfortable, my CEO, Rahul Nagpal, changed the name of the game. He said to me, the agency needs someone who thinks insightful, delivers on ROI, and manages relationships. And he thought I could do all of that. He trained me inside out, and I'm extremely grateful to him to single-handedly create the new Alok Gadkar. With great discomfort, I fit myself into the suit, became the MD, where entire CS, creative and planning teams started to report into me. We continued to put more effort into more work. Now I didn't even have the excuse that our creative ideas were not being sold. I was at the center of crafting, creating, and delivering results.
يسعد صباحك، يسعد مساك، افرح بيومك، خلي الهم وراك.
يسعد صباحك، يسعد مساك، افرح بيومك، خلي الهم وراك. ايش اسمك؟ كيف حالك؟ كيف اقدر اساعدك؟ انا بشكرك، كتير بشكرك.
مرحبا بالعيد، عيدك سعيد، مرحبا بالعيد، عسايدك سعيد، مرحبا بالعيد، عيدك سعيد، مرحبا بالعيد، عسايدك سعيد.
At Partnership, we always create work that stands out, work that's culturally relevant, work that makes heads turn and stop people in their tracks. The next piece I would like to share is a bit of all this. But before that, the story. One of the members of my creative team ran into me with a big grin. They were really excited, and from their faces I could tell they had something unusual. The art director held a pebble in his hand, and the idea was blurted. But there was something missing, the insight. Also, there was no intention. It was something simple, so we further dwelled on the idea and tweaked it and said it should be done in a mosque. That's when everyone got worked up. But I truly believe when there is tension and fear of doing something, go ahead and do it. It was my job to make my team uncomfortable. So we put all our forces together, got permission from the Imam, and eventually started with the first mosque. The realism and truthfulness of the idea is what everyone applauded. I also call it the 5 Hills idea. You don't have to break the bank to create impactful work. Footnote for the Breast is one of those pieces I'm really proud of. Our first gold and silver Cannes Lion happened, and then awards kept pouring every year. We also won the first D&AD White Pencil, Clio, Leah, Dubai Lynx Grand Prix year on year. Our awards cabinet needed an extension. My dream to win a Lion was fulfilled. In 2018, I was also invited to judge Cannes Lion, and later continued judging at various international festivals.
A few more apps that we would probably have around the list of lists. And if it helps, if it's good, why not?
Our business is all about people and relationships. As I have grown in my career, I have always believed in the importance of mentoring talent. I knew exactly how uncomfortable it can get for talents starting out at agencies So I have taken every opportunity to speak at festivals, universities, attend portfolio nights, and personally guide anyone who reaches out. From an art director to ECD and MD just happened while I was busy working. For me, fancy titles don't matter. Yes, they are important for systems and organizational hierarchies, but it's the work that counts. I have been extremely lucky to have had great bosses, family that never complained, parents who always supported my unusual thinking, friends and colleagues at VML YNR and Partnership, and my amazing team who works with me relentlessly trying to turn everything into gold. Without all these beautiful souls, my journey wouldn't be the same. So while the journey continues, I'm sure there will be plenty more discomfort. Embrace it. Let it take you beyond the ordinary. I have never been the one to follow the pack and will always look at making the uncomfortable comfortable. My parting message, especially for the newbies: live on the uncomfortable side. That's what will make life worth living. Shukran.